Comic book cancel culture is getting canceled in real time. The terminally online and offended activists have been deemed cancel pigs and they hate it. And of course, Mark Millar is now calling for people to take a stand against these pathetic individuals. I have a few different things that I want to show off, but before we get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, follow me on social media, and consider supporting through Patreon or via YouTube memberships. So I wanted to reference this Bounding into Comics article. It says, in taking a stand against the ever-growing wave of cancel culture that currently overwhelms the world of comic books, veteran industry writer Mark Millar has officially taken to calling out the self-serving and dishonest behavior of the many fans and writers who seek to ruin another's career over the slightest of and often made up socio-political infractions, or, as they have recently been termed, cancel pigs. Now, I have had to talk quite a lot over the years about cancel culture in, the comic industry. It's unfortunate, but you could be an amazing writer or artist and you could still get canceled because of, yes, the smallest things. You could make one post on social media and your mainstream career could be over. And this is why I primarily support indie comic creators now, because the mainstream is just not something I want to support, like many of you. But it even says the Civil War stand against the cancel-happy elements of the industry first began on December 6th, following his hosting of the Comic Palace store owner on his personal podcast to discuss the latter's recent attacking by numerous comic book professionals over his opinion that writers nowadays, they don't care about who or what the character is anymore. Most of these new writers don't have a love of comics like the older writers had. All they care about is, how do I put myself in the book? And this is also what all of us have been saying for years, and it's great to see, comic store owners echo this point, because of course, as you can see, it absolutely blew up. There were thousands of more eyes on this topic and plenty of people to support this individual, even though, again, the cancel pigs tried to get him. In the end, it did not work. And now, sharing his interview with him to his personal Twitter account, Millar was met with a number of replies, some positive and some negative. Of course, someone as large as Mark is going to, get some of that negativity. And of course, ultimately, when you are talking to someone that was recently, in the line of cancel culture fire, you're going to take a few stray bullets, and that's what's happened. But of course, he doesn't care. He just does not care, which is hilarious. Among those who commented on the discussion was, of course, EVS. He said, "Terrific job, Mark. Thank you. I feel like you might be the only one who can destroy this evil." That's what it is. It's killing comics. I'll get more eyes on this interview right now. And it's so true and so sad because, yes, I mean, even people like EVS have been canceled, numerous times at this point simply for having his own opinions, which of course is just a disgusting situation in of itself. But what this all stemmed from, this quote about writers nowadays is so true. They are worried about self-insertion, whether it is, a character that looks like them or acts like them or has their general, political views or stances about the real world. We have seen this happen so many times and it's killed so many, whether it is, storylines or in general runs that could have been good. It's completely killed them simply because they have to do some kind of self-insertion. Unsurprisingly, given that Millar had interacted with an individual they perceived as one of comics' greatest evils, this friendly interaction soon seized upon by cancel pigs in order to try and bully the Superman Red Sun creator. Replying to the tweet, "Why exactly are people on here slagging Mark Millar?" And then Queer Comics, the Pride writer, Joe Glass, I mean, Queer Comics The Pride, you can see where he stands, claimed getting friendly with Comicsgate. The latest is a fairly friendly response to EVS, it also seems, highlighted and defended that comics retailer who basically said comics are dying because people are adding diverse elements to existing characters. This individual did not specify diverse elements, and I say this all the time, diversity, inclusivity are great things, but they are used by companies as the only selling points for products, and it doesn't work anymore. Yes, one could assume that he also meant for, diversity and DEI to be wrapped up in that, but he didn't just say that. He also could have meant characters, again, that have, the creatives' political stance, or the way that they look, or the way that they talk. Maybe they have a quirk, like, oh, the writer bites their nails, so this character does, so that they could see themselves in that character more. We've seen small things like that, and they all add up, and they all matter, because it just shows that the person who is writing this character doesn't have a creative freaking bone in their body. Daniel Calvin, the writer of Band of Bards American Dreams, also said, surprise, surprise, M dash, of course, it's like, she who should not be named, God forbid you actually name the person you're talking about, plays to the far right culture warriors again by supporting the guy who just insulted his fellow comic book creators. There were many creators that did not fall into the sphere of what the comic shop owner said. People like EVS do not self-insert. People like Mark Millar do not self-insert, and it's hilarious that they're trying to now get people like Mark to turn on this comic shop owner by saying, well, technically that he insulted you too, and you should be offended. Stop trying to tell people what they should or shouldn't be offended by. If I'm bothered by something, I say my 2 cents and I move on, and clearly Mark does not feel bothered by this individual statement, so why should you be offended for him? In a follow-up tweet, he also said, so MM uses that store owner as a prop to feed red meat to reactionaries, gets kudos from CG weirdos, and enables attacks on his fellow comic creators. Again, he was simply propping up the voice of an individual who people like you were trying to cancel. Maybe if you cancel pigs did not exist, I still like to call them cancel culture vultures as well, if people like these individuals did not exist, the Daniel Calvins of the world, we wouldn't have to sit here and talk about cancel culture, because it wouldn't be happening. It is sad that these people flip out whenever they realize that they are losing their control, that grasp on control that they had is slowly but surely waning, and this is not going to stop anytime soon. Whenever an EVS or whenever a Mark Millar comes out and makes a statement like this and goes against these individuals, all they are going to do is attack and attempt to cancel, but their attempts at cancellation over the past few months have absolutely fallen flat, and it is hilarious to see these people get called out as the cancel pigs they are. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this, make sure to give it a like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.